Welcome to the Crucible of Creation, and another video in Noodle's complete Path of Exile lore series. This video is part 2 covering Zana, Shaper, and the Elder. Let's begin. After his experience in the Elder's dreamlands, Valdo decided he must use his new knowledge, both of the Elder's history and its thaumaturgy, to find a way to end this unholy Elder. He begins working on his own map device that would be more than the device for traveling between the world of Wraeclast and Oriath and the Dreamlands, but would open many different worlds. Valdo wanted to exile the Elder to aimless wandering between different worlds to make it impossible for the Elder to terrorize and bleed dry just one land. With the renewed anger of the Elder, this shade on Valdo's mind, he began toiling on this new device to save our world from the Elder's influence. This new map device Valdo envisioned is like the ones we eventually end up using 20 years later, but Valdo was never able to complete his. Unfortunately, Valdo had taken too much time, and High Templar Venarius became tired of waiting for results. Valdo had kept his ventures to the Dreamlands secret, feigning ignorance regarding the WATCHER'S device, and hiding his work on his own new device. Venarius and some of his guards surprise Valdo in the laboratory, tossing his machine to the ground and destroying much of his research. Valdo is taken to the Theopolis prison for not completing Venarius's task. A guard in the prison allows Valdo to continue his journals, this book of memories we are able to reference. As Valdo waits for the impending punishment from High Templar Venarius, he laments that he cannot stop the Elder from his cell, saying, "Only I can save us from this blasphemy that has fallen upon Oriath." High Templar Venarius does punish Valdo, taking him into the streets to be publicly shamed, beating him and stripping him of his clothes. When Valdo Caesarius is close to death, Venarius brings him aside and demands to know what Valdo was doing, and why he failed his initial task of rebuilding the device brought from Wraeclast. Valdo, in desperation, tries to explain to Venarius what happened, traveling to the Dreamlands, meeting the Elder, realizing what it was and what would happen if it was free, in an attempt to appeal to his better nature and persuade Venarius to help save Oriath from this impending decay. Instead, the power-hungry Venarius hears this as his guards capture Zana, holds her at knife point, and demands Valdo take him to meet the Elder. Knowing Venarius would not hesitate to kill his daughter, Valdo is forced to bring Venarius to the Dreamland. While Venarius and his team admire the beauty of the Dreamlands, Zana cries in fear, and Valdo is sick to his bones. They meet the Shade, the disembodied mind of the Elder. The Shade still loathes Valdo, entering his mind to question his return, but High Templar Venarius steps forward. "He tells me you are king of this land," he said. "My poor, poor scholar says you are imprisoned, that you need a key." As he spoke, the Shade stayed quiet, listening and smoldering smugly. "I can be that key for you," the High Templar announced. Venarius so desired to have power, to unlock secrets of the thaumaturgy of the past, that even after hearing Valdo's story, he desires to align with the Elder in hopes that he can have influence. Unintended. Valdo's journal continues. For a moment, the Shade did not respond. A perverse, pensive, pregnant pause lay heavily upon us all. Then finally, casting an image at once upon all of our minds, we felt it ask of Venarius, "What dost thou want?" The High Templar smiled. "Why, power, of course." So the Elder leads everyone back to the statue and asks Venarius to pull the sword from it. In all his vanity, Venarius didn't hesitate for a second. The ground shakes, and the Shade reunites with its physical form before them. Venarius drops the blade. Some white light in the hilt flickered and shrank until it, at last, was put out by the great darkness of that tentacular void. With the Elder free to feed, Valdo grabbed Zana and fled as the richness of life fled from the quickly shriveling bodies of the High Templar and his men. This is how High Templar Venarius lost his memory and became Kvass. The Elder does not feast on one's physical body, but on their mind, their imagination, and their memories. This is why the Elder takes its victims to the dreamlands, so that it can properly feed. Kvass, aka Venarius, has likely been stuck in these dreamlands since this incident. He and his men were never seen in Oriath again. Since Venarius has survived in some form since the Elder fed on his memory, perhaps other victims of the Elder exist still in the dreamlands or elsewhere. Valdo and Zana escape back to Oriath, and Valdo took a nearby tool and jammed it into the infernal device to break it. But while he and Zana were escaping, Valdo realized that only he had the knowledge to truly stop the Elder from wreaking havoc on Oriath like it had on Wraeclast so many years ago. He hid Zana in a closet and, with the portal flickering and shrinking steadily, he turned back and stepped forward into the dreamlands one final time. And this is how Valdo Caesarius, Zana's father, disappeared 20 years ago. He disappeared to save the world from the destruction of the Elder, of the decay it brings. Valdo says the decay is the Elder's true master, and that the fungal monstrosity will manifest and spread forth its mighty tendrils. The mold from before time and space began will seek out the destruction of all things. Valdo exiled himself to the Dreamlands to attempt to defeat the Elder. But his device, his new map device intended to trap the Elder, had been destroyed. What could Valdo do from within the Dreamlands to stop the Elder's tirade? After her father's disappearance, Zana was orphaned. Her mother had died when she was a baby. Her family's assets were seized, and she was handed off to a series of well-off foster homes as an indentured servant. Zana was an intelligent and curious child, and with vague memories of her father's research, she began searching for information on his whereabouts and what became of his work. 3 weeks after Venarius' disappearance, Dominus became the new High Templar, but because of Valdo and Venarius' secrecy, the circumstances of their disappearances were unknown, at least publicly. Zana found some of her father's notes in the attic of their family home, but not the journal we know as the Book of Memories. His notes covered many subjects, but Zana was particularly fascinated with his research on maps. She knew that her father was lost in some world once the Watcher's device he'd been working on was destroyed. In the Templar laboratory he would bring her to sometimes as he worked. Valdo had been taking notes on his own new device, and that is what Zana focused on. She says, "I spent my whole life trying to track down its pieces and repair his machine. A few years ago, I did just that." Because of Zana's interest in her father's research, she drew the attention of the Templars. Even though Dominus also had an interest in thaumaturgy, like Venarius, he wanted to keep his pursuits secretive. Luckily for me, Zana tells us, Dominus was much less subtle than the previous High Templars, so I managed to leave Oriath on my own terms, mostly, before my impending exile. Zana willingly left Oriath to live on Wraeclast. But with Dominus and Avarius' death, and the destruction of Kitava, Zana thinks we are the perfect candidate to help her find her father, using the map device constructed from his own plans. When we meet her, she says, "I returned to Oriath not long after hearing of Kitava's demise. There's no one left to tell us we can't live here anymore, and the knowledge that once endangered me could actually be put to good use in the cleanup and the rebuilding effort of Oriath after Kitava's destruction." So Zana leads us to the Templar laboratory, where she has rebuilt her father's second device, the map device that was destroyed by High Templar Venarius when arresting Valdo. Zana has been entering maps to different worlds, searching for her father. Since we've proven our strength, Zana wants us to enter her maps and help her search, as the maps contain powerful creatures and other dangers. The story of the Elder was not introduced until the War for the Atlas expansion in 2017, but the Shaper has been present since the Atlas of Worlds expansion in 2016. So for this next part, I'll discuss Zana's journey first with learning of the Shaper and then about the Elder, even though the story regarding the Elder is completely intertwined with Shaper now. Before the Elder's introduction, all Zana, or we, knew of Valdo's disappearance was that he had entered a portal from the device and never returned. I can't confirm this, but I don't think High Templar Venarius and his commissioning of Valdo had been introduced either. So Xana's father Valdo was simply a researcher of the occult and thaumaturgical who had created this map device and disappeared. The map device had been destroyed, and Zana rebuilt it and some maps to find her father. As we'd explore different maps, increasing in difficulty, making progress towards the center of this atlas, we would eventually come to the lairs of 4 monstrous beings who guarded some central realm. Zana tells us, "I no longer believe these are realms of chance," referring to the maps. Rather, they must be formulated by a sentient mind, a designer or architect. Every shadow in this place creeps with an unforeseen purpose. Zana theorizes that the maps are not actually portals into real worlds, but into purposefully created or shaped ones. The 4 beings we encounter at the highest difficulty of maps are called guardians, who are protecting access to this hidden central realm. The Hydra, Phoenix, Chimera, and Minotaur, all named after mythological beings, all carrying one part of a key to access this final realm. At this point, it seems that something, perhaps this architect, is using these guardians to protect itself. Once we've defeated each and collected all 4 pieces of the key, we can put the pieces in a map device and enter this hidden place, called the Shaper's Realm. The Shaper's Realm is a floating platform surrounded by space itself, very distinct from the rather grounded appearance of the maps we've explored before. When we enter this realm, pre-war for the Atlas, Shaper says, "Welcome to the crucible of creation, the anvil upon which worlds are forged." Before we can enter his chamber, we must fight 4 more bosses who are randomly selected. These bosses lie at 4 ends of paths from this central platform, and as we run down these paths, the landscape becomes like that of where the boss originates from, which means that the Shaper has created these areas, these bosses, and as Zana theorized, likely created the worlds we've seen them in before. In the Atlas of Worlds trailer, Shaper says, "Countless worlds of promise and potential, tethered together by invisible threads, a spider's web, holding the crucible of life itself, mine to bend, break, and reshape." Once we've defeated the 4 randomly generated bosses, we can enter a portal deeper into the Shaper's realm, onto a platform that seems to be eaten away by the space around it. Zana joins us inside, and together we find an older man wearing a hooded cloak, the Shaper himself. And, as most of you already know, or at least have put together from this video, the Shaper is Xana's father, Valdo Caesarius. He has been in this atlas creating these maps, and is now a powerful and malicious being. While Zana recognizes him, the Shaper does not recognize Zana, and the fight begins. The fight has 3 phases, and after each of the first 2 phases, the Shaper transports us to different realms we must traverse to re-enter his realm to delay our attack and fill our flasks. Thanks, Dad. When we enter for the second phase, Zana cries, "Father, why would you do this?" To which he responds, "Imperfection must be reshaped. You must be reshaped." The Shaper continues his attack. In fact, Zana can even die in this fight if you do not protect her during the portal ad phase. On the 3rd phase, we can defeat the Shaper. The ending of this fight has changed for the Elder's introduction. At this time, the Shaper's final words are, "Zana, you were my greatest creation." Zana replies, "I'm so sorry, Father. I'm so sorry it came to this." And the Shaper is gone. It appears the story during this expansion is that Valdo sought the power of creation and created the Atlas and its maps to assume this power. The Shaper was absorbed by this desire and lost his memories because the power consumed him. Quick note, after defeating Uber Elder, Zana says that the Elder created the Atlas, but the rest of our information suggests the Elder created the dreamlands and can travel worlds, but the Shaper created the actual Atlas. This is supported by Atlas of Worlds trailer. When the Elder is introduced in War for the Atlas, our understanding of the Shaper changes. While the progression leading up to the Shaper fight remains largely the same, we're able to gather the books of memories, the journal entries I summarized earlier, when we defeat the boss of a map influenced by the Elder, one entry for each of the 16 tiers. We are recovering Valdo's memories from the Elder. In this expansion, Valdo's true reason for disappearing is made clear. He did not desire simply to create new worlds, but to save Oriath and his daughter from the Elder. The Elder had taught Valdo how to create things from his imagination out of nothing, and this is how the Shaper was able to create these maps from inside the Atlas. He was attempting to recreate his plan for exiling the Elder to endless hunting between worlds, rather than the Elder accessing Oriath or Wraeclast once more. However, it seems Valdo has not been entirely successful. Zana tells us that the Elder has been free for the better part of 2 decades. Its taste in food could explain the steady disappearance of children in the upper class of Oriath. While the Shaper has been creating and influencing worlds to fend off the Elder, now the Elder is beginning to successfully spread its own influence, this decay. The Watchers, the first people to fight off the Elder, called themselves the Watchers of Decay, and Valdo knew how dangerous and powerful this decay was as well. The Elder comes from before time and space, and from Xana's research, she believes this Elder is not a lord unto itself. It serves a greater master or a greater purpose. I'm unsure. It's confusing. Both my father and the Watchers refer to the Elder as coming from nothing, while also being a carrier for the nothing. There are also mentions of an unholy desire to spoil and decay. Perhaps it all relates somehow to those fungal growths we've seen in the maps. The Elder is simply an agent of this decay, feeding on memories and imagination to spread itself. The War for the Atlas is a war between the Shaper and the Elder for control of the Atlas and the maps within it. The Shaper's influence appears as a celestial pattern enveloping maps, and the Elder's appears as a gray and black tentacled or fungal pattern. As we complete maps, the Shaper begins having areas of influence, and the Elder appears adjacent to these. With each completed map, they war for power in that area, and completing a map that is already influenced by one will give power to the other. Without context, this could seem like a battle simply for power or control. The Shaper's mind has been affected by the Elder, as Valdo foreshadowed earlier. But we know Valdo, whose memories are still partially in the Shaper, wants to control the Atlas to keep the Elder from leaving it. We've seen through Kvass, aka High Templar Venarius, that the Elder does not always destroy physical form when it feeds on memories. Valdo, aka Shaper, is still alive, although he seems to fight the corruption of the Elder in his mind constantly. Zana wonders if the children the Elder has captured, either in Oriath or in the distant past on Wraeclast, are still here in this place. Twisted, tormented creatures clinging to whatever fragments of happy memories they've left. We do not get concrete evidence of these children remaining, but Zana does say that there must be thousands of them, and they beg to be set free from their torment. Killing them would be an act of mercy, so maybe they are the creatures we see throughout the Atlas. What we do know is that the Shaper has created these maps to delay the Elder, hopefully indefinitely, but his plan is slowly failing. That is why the Shaper is now actively influencing the Atlas. Zana says, this Atlas, these maps, they aren't so much worlds as they are like the performance stage in the Theopolis amphitheater. These worlds are merely disguises for what truly lies behind the curtain. This place, this is the nexus of the Elder's worlds, the place from which all its hunting grounds are formed. We are close to the void from which it was birthed. At the true nexus of the Atlas is not only the Shaper's realm, but the Elder's dreamlands, and it is trying to hunt its way out of the Atlas into every other world it can access. When we fight the Shaper in the War for the Atlas expansion, the dialogue and ending of the fight are quite different. In the second phase, Zana says, "Father, it's me, let me help you," instead of asking why he would do this. The Shaper still does not recognize Zana until the end of the fight. but they have a more lengthy exchange. The Shaper says, "These memories are mine. I cannot lose them." Zana responds, "They lie to you, father. I'm your true memory." And Shaper replies, "To save the future, the past must be sacrificed." It's unclear if Valdo refers to losing his true memories of Zana or the memories of his created worlds, but he has lost his memories before and doesn't want to lose them again. The Shaper says to save the future, the past must be sacrificed, remembering how he abandoned Zana to try and save Oriath, knowing his likely fate. In a moment of clarity, Valdo tells Zana to take a key to unlock his private study, where she'll find a weapon that can defeat the Elder, and at that moment the Elder appears out of a dark portal and begins feasting on Valdo's memories once more. With this key, we can enter a sealed storeroom in the Templar laboratory, which has been infested with the fungal decay of the Elder. Zana's theory about missing children being taken by the Elder seems accurate. The Elder has found a way into Oriath and begun his infection, bypassing the Shaper's attempts to stop him. Here, we find the weapon Valdo mentioned, the Cosmic Arcana, which we can use to lock the Elder into the abstract of non-reality, the place before time which it originated from. I wonder if the Shaper created this weapon from within the Atlas and sent it to Oriath, as he once planned to do with the missing piece of the Watcher's device. To use the Cosmic Arcana, we must lure the Elder to the nexus of the Atlas, where the Shaper resides, his crucible of life, because the veil between worlds is the thinnest there, and there the power of creation is strongest. Earlier I questioned whether the shade in the Dreamlands was thaumaturgically gifted on its own, or if the land influenced it. The Shaper's fixation on this location suggests it's both, and this place, this nexus, gives one more thaumaturgical power. Quick note, the lore document has flavor text for the Shaper's Guardian maps that imply the Guardians were not meant to protect the Shaper, but to hold him captive. Each map's text starts out, "One of my captors," according to this document, but I could not find the text in-game. So it's unlikely the Shaper created these beings to protect himself. Perhaps the Elder surrounded the Shaper with the beings or turned them against him, but who or what they were originally, if anything, is unknown. The Elder also has 4 Guardians who function in-game much like the Shaper's Guardians, 4 powerful beings who, upon defeat, drop a piece of a key needed to access the Elder's realm. In our initial fights with the Elder across the Atlas, we fight the Elder by himself, after spawning him by allowing his influence to spread to at least 20 connected maps in the Atlas. He's also wearing a hooded cloak, like the Shaper, but has 4 arms, monstrous tentacles hanging from the bottom of his robes and poking out his back, with a face made entirely of a fanged mouth. Zana theorizes that our actions in the Atlas have allowed the Elder to access Oriath, likely from our manipulation that allows the Elder to spread influence and spawn. The Elder's realm is called the Absence of Value and Meaning. In this fight, at times the Shaper will appear to assist us. When the Elder traps us with his siphon, slowing us and draining our health, the Shaper will appear to slam him, disrupting this attack. Once we've gotten the Elder to his final phase, the Shaper puts the Elder in restraints, and we can protect the Shaper from being killed by the Elder's adds that appear from multiple portals. If the Shaper is killed, the Elder breaks free and we must defeat him on our own. If the Shaper is saved, we enter Phase 3, where the Elder is restrained but still able to attack and spawn adds. Keeping the Shaper alive is the only way to have a Watcher's eye drop, a powerful jewel that reflects the grim fate of those Watchers of Decay who stood up to the Elder so long ago. For our final encounter with the Elder, we push his influence to the center of the Atlas, over the Shaper's realm, and defeat his 4 Guardians to get the key to entering this Elder-influenced Shaper's realm. Once inside, the Shaper's realm looks mostly the same, but the 4 paths that once led to recreated boss zones are now blocked by the Elder's tentacles. We enter the portal to the Nexus where we once fought Shaper, and Zana follows. Inside, we see the Elder holding Shaper by his arms, hovering before one of the Elder's portals. We follow the Elder into his portal, which takes us from the Shaper's celestial nexus to the absence of value and meaning. And now we must fight both the Shaper and the Elder. The Shaper's mind has been fully ensnared by the Elder's influence. In fact, his first words to us in this realm echo the Elder. Putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester. Years of being feasted on by the Elder, of having his memories drained, it seems finally he is fully gone. The Shaper and Elder fight in sync. When we defeat both, Zana uses the Cosmic Arcana to open a portal into which the Elder is drawn away, clawing at the ground to fight this power. The Shaper, Valdo Caesarius, Zana's father, is nowhere to be seen. When we talk to Zana, she does say, "My father, wherever he is, I can sense him. He's at peace. Thank you, exile." Perhaps Valdo is not totally gone. In Valdo's final entry to his Book of Memories, he writes, "My war with the creature is far from over. I've no upper hand. But like a cornered animal, I will bite until I am gone. I've attempted to sleep and awaken in Oriath many times. Hoped that one night I might get to hold you in my arms once again. But instead of my study, I dream of nothing." He could create worlds or destroy them, but he could not make his way back to Oriath, to his daughter. Zana, following in her father's footsteps, recreated the device Valdo had wanted to build, this map device, and in doing so, ultimately weakened the barrier between the Atlas's worlds and our own that Valdo had fought to create. Although we emerge victorious, finally banishing the Elder back to the non-reality, to that place before time, we also kill Valdo, who fought for 20 years to keep Oriath safe. Do we do this to save Oriath? Or do we do it in hopes that a Watcher's eye will drop? That valuable, overpowered testament to the bravery and sacrifice of those who stood in the Elder's way, and use it to further our own power. I think the conquerors of the Atlas expansion, where Zana has trapped overpowered exiles who defeated the Elder in the Atlas for fear they will destroy everything, give some insight into our own motivations. Thank you so much for watching. It's your boy Noodle. If you liked this video, make sure to check out part 1 and the rest of the videos in my lore series. I'll be making some shorter form videos, so if you want to vote on the next topic, check out my Patreon, link below. Thanks to all my patrons and subscribers. And please, if you feel your sanity slip away, just stay sane, exile. Choke you down.